I'm Costas Isichos from Greece, representative in the Yalta conference, 80 years after Yalta. I had my speech yesterday as president of the International Association Friends of Crimea. In my brief speech, I pointed mostly three important points which I think are necessary for the people here in Russia to know. That the European Union leaders, most of them today, and especially the French Prime Minister, the French President, the British Prime Minister, and the German Chancellor, are heading perhaps to a very dangerous road for the European Union and the people in the European Union. It's a road of self-destruction, I would call it, or self-suicide, both politically, economically, which will have the peoples of Europe going through very harsh times, very difficult times. Mrs. von der Leyen, the President of the European Union Council, has announced recently that she will fund, the European Union will fund a new rearmament strategy which will surpass 800 billion euros. It's an incredible amount of money going just to an arms race against the well-known suspect which endangers Europe and humanity, and of course that is Russia in their opinion, which is a non-believable fairy tale for most European peoples. They're using everything in their power, their media, their systemic media, the media they control, the media of the European oligarchs, in order to convince the European people that Russia is a danger to world peace and to the European Union. Nothing further from the truth. If the European Union is really scared about Russia, they have a very easy solution. Include Russia in the structure of a security architecture for all of Europe, for all the European continent, including Russia itself, because Russia itself has been surrounded by NATO in the last 25 years. The NATO enlargement of countries in Eastern Europe, in Northern Europe, and the Scandinavian countries, in the Baltics is a reality. Going against the word which was given by the presidents of the United States and European leaders that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, even NATO was not necessary after the Warsaw Pact disappeared, which is, of course, is a lie, because not only do we have an enlargement of NATO in Europe, we have a globalization of NATO. In South America and Africa, even in Taiwan, they have targets of countries and peoples who should join NATO in a global alliance against the bad guys, which are always either Russia or China or India or mostly the BRICS plus nations. So the next point that I think is very important to say and stress is that the Yalta conference is taking place at a very crucial and transitional period full of dangers and also challenges for humanity in the near future. I do believe, my dear friends, colleagues, people who are activists for peace and collaboration of all peoples, that we have to build roads of collaboration, roads of truth, not walls of lies which are being put up by the European Union around Russia. Nothing comes out of Russia. No news. It's either distorted, just to make a ridicule of these news is that Putin has been dying for the last 10 years because he has cancer, he's limping, he has a double, he has a triple, he has a clone or whatever. I mean, fairy tales that don't even, they ridicule themselves when they say these things. Sometimes seriously, sometimes using other people to say these things so they don't get embarrassed. But I do believe that the only road for the European Union to survive, for the people of the European Union to live decent lives, is to be good neighbors with Russia, to be in friendly terms with Russia, to collaborate with Russia. The European Union has increased an incredible amount, they have used an incredible amount of sanctions on energy, on foodstuffs, on many products, whether agricultural or machinery, but mostly energy, of course. And what has that happened? There is a boomerang effect against the European Union. These sanctions have come back towards the European Union. And now the European Union is going through a terrible economic situation with housing problems, with energy crisis, with rising of prices at incredible rates, especially food products, and so on, and the deficits which will be created by the plundering of the funds of the pensioners, which are more than 400 billion in the European Union, and this amount will be plundered and transferred for arms in the next years. So you can imagine the poverty that is going to be created in the European Union, the political disintegration, the social marginalization of many, many peoples, and of course the danger of neo-Nazism, which is growing in the European Union also, not only in Ukraine, but also in the European Union. We have a rise of extreme right-wing ideas, racist ideas, not only Russophobia, but Islamophobia, and so on. We know that when Europe experiments with fascism and Nazism, what happens and what follows? Complete destruction and chaos for humanity itself. So we must all be together in order to destroy this wall of lies and build roads, highways, I would say, of collaboration and friendship. This is the future of Europe, not only for Russia, for Eurasia, but for all European people.
Good.